Hi everyone, sorry, pardon that delay. We had a bit of a frozen screen situation, but it seems to have worked out now. We have a bit of a shorter session today, so I'll go ahead and just dive in. Thank you all so much for taking the time to be here. My name's Olivia Stone. I'm the Key Account Manager at the American Society for Microbiology. Today I'm going to talk a little bit more about our year with the Subscribe to Open model, as well as some feedback that we've received from the model to make for some exciting changes and implementations looking ahead to 2026. Okay, so first I'll start with a bit of an overview of our model. So our main model in 2025 was our Subscribe to Open model. Under this model, our main ethos really with this model is to share costs across authors, funders, librarians, etc. And you'll hear me speak about that in the next couple of slides as well. We do utilize a sustainability target with this model, which I'll also delve into a bit more in the next couple of slides. The main thing to bear in mind is that while we do utilize a sustainability target, we also have an open access guarantee. This means that institutions that subscribe to this model are able to access the content under these 6 journals, regardless of whether or not we hit our internal goals, so to speak. When we talk about Subscribe to Open, we're also largely talking about the ways in which authors benefit from this type of model. So again, to give you a bit of a highlight, we don't have APCs for this model, and there are no publishing caps for our 6S2O journals. With that being said, we do utilize page charges. We have discounted fees for the 6S2O journals. I'll delve into what those discounts look like for institutions. We also have, as I mentioned, an OA guarantee for subscribing institutions. Lastly, we utilize a platform called Kronos Hub. They have it here, so check them out. And it is the submission portal. It's our main submission portal for our researchers. Kronos Hub is really great at matching authors with their affiliated institutions so that at the end, it applies the correct discounts that are applicable to them. So as I mentioned earlier, we do have a sustainability target. Now, a sustainability target is really exactly what it sounds like. It is the goal that we have internally. It's a revenue goal that we have internally to determine if a journal's content can be made open access. So if our sustainability target is met, the current year volume is published OA. If it is not met, the current year volume remains behind a paywall. However, as I also mentioned, we do have an OA guarantee for subscribing institutions. We do utilize page charges, and we have a number of discounts for these page charges as well. We have a 25% discount for authors at subscribing institutions. Our shorthand at ASM is to call this the subscriber discount. We also apply an additional 25% discount for those who are ASM members. So that is individual. That is something that the researcher would do on their own, but bear in mind that that is an additional discount. I believe it's the next slide. I'll showcase a breakdown of an average paper under our Gold OA journal as opposed to an average paper in our Subscribe to Open journals. So this is a side-by-side and a comparison of, as I mentioned, an average paper under our Gold OA journals as opposed to our Subscribe to Open 6 primary research journals. There's a couple of things I want you to note here. If you go to total cost, that's towards the bottom, you'll see that the current APC model's average price is around $4,800. As opposed to our Subscribe to Open model, the average cost for a 17-page paper, that is the average length paper that we see, is about $3,100. Something to note about this cost is that this is an example of a paper in which the 25% subscriber discount has been applied. So right off the top, you have almost $2,000 that are being taken off for that one discount. Also bear in mind that if a researcher is, as I mentioned, a member at ASM, they have the potential to have an additional 25% off as well. Here we have some quotes, some testimonials from some folks, some partners of ours at ASM. We have a quote from a librarian at NC State, as well as a quote from the Director of Shared Collections at CDL, California Digital Library, essentially just saying that the model has been easy for them to communicate and has been helpful in achieving their A publishing goals. So in looking ahead, we have for 2026 two additional models. They're both under the Subscribe to Open umbrella, but they are scalable. We have the S2O flat fee pilot, as well as the S2O plus Gold OA flat fee pilots. And I will delve into some of the differences and comparisons between those. So this is our current S2O model to review. This was our main model in 2025. This model is a subscription, and in having this model, researchers at subscribing institutions have the subscriber discount with this model. With that being said, publishing is not included in the subscription price. And as an overview, these are our 6 S2O journals. I also wanted to mention, I'm not certain if I mentioned this earlier, but our S2O model also includes access to our review journals. For our new S2O flat fee pilot, this is a subscription in which essentially publishing costs are included. So to highlight, there are no publishing caps, no APCs, no page charges, no supplemental material fees. This model covers our 6 S2O journals as well. As the name would suggest, for our new S2O plus Gold OA flat fee model, this model is a subscription that includes the publishing costs for not only our 6 S2O journals, our primary research journals, but also our 9 Gold OA journals. Of course, also includes access to that of our review journals as well. I also wanted to highlight that we have 2 new Gold OA journals as well that will be included in this model. So that's ASM's Animal Microbiology and ASM Microbiology. So this model has access to the full suite of our journals. Ultimately, when we look at the workflow for this model, it will be largely similar to that of our general S2O model. And what I mean by that is that authors will still submit using Kronos Hub. And a similar protocol will apply in terms of having our automatic eligibility check. In the case of a flat fee model, they would be matched with the appropriate institution, as Kronos Hub does already. And then the appropriate fee waiver for publishing costs is applied if an institution does have a flat fee model. If one's institution is a part of a consortium, we also have an institutional dashboard via rights link for tracking as well. To have a general comparison of the models, it's pretty straightforward, but our S2O model, again, is a subscription in which publishing costs are not covered. There is a discount that researchers receive in an institution having that subscription with us. However, the publishing costs are not outright covered, as opposed to the S2O flat fee pilot, in which the subscription cost also includes publishing costs for our 6 S2O journals. And then in the S2O plus Gold OA flat fee, publishing cost is included for all of our journals. Last, but certainly not least, some of the key highlights of our new models are that there are unlimited open access publishing. You know, we really wanted to provide folks more pathways under the general subscribe to open umbrella to suit their differing needs. We do ask that for those that are a part of a consortium, that a few to a handful of institutions ultimately join as to, you know, make use of the administrative requirements for setting up a new pilot. So thank you all so much. I so appreciate your time. I'm going to leave this screen up just because if you have any general questions about subscribe to open, you can scan. I think you can scan all these QR codes on the screen here. And you can also, if you have a subscriber FAQ, if you're not already a member of the Subscribe to Open community of practice, I highly recommend. It's a monthly meeting in which funders, librarians, publishers, folks on the indexing side all meet and talk about their shared perspectives of the S2O model. Thank you so much. Any questions? I'm not sure what the time is, but I think
got
it's
7
time
minutes.
for 7 minutes.
What is the topics that you spoke about at your last regular meeting with all of those stakeholders?
You mean at the community of practice meeting?
Yes.
Yes, so the last meeting that I attended, actually, it was very neat. We had some representatives from the DOHA talk about subscribe to open and the nuances of indexing and how that essentially functions within the DOHA. And a lot of the publishers attended that meeting and were giving their sort of experiences and feedback as well. So that was really great. The one prior to that, sometimes they have, so with the community of practice, sometimes they have set topics like, okay, this week we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about funder compliance. And then the next week it'll be a bit more general, and if people have ideas, they can kind of platform those as well, or kind of have like a general chat about any questions that folks have. Any other questions? You don't have to be shy.
I have just a general question. Obviously, the other models have some costs associated with them. So is there something that's general about the cost you could share with us?
I'm so sorry, I have a hard time.
So obviously these have costs associated with them, the
Yes.
models, right? Is there something about the cost you could share with us?
Yeah, so we have the model is, so the general S2L model is a subscription, and that is sort of the cost of entry, if you will. We have 3 different tiers based on size of institution and a really estimated users. They vary, obviously. I'm trying to think what else. We do have, we utilize page charges for the model as well. Those are not in our main model, they're not included in the blank price. However, the model does grant access to an additional discount as well. Sorry, I see my colleague shaking his head.
No, I was just going to ask, are you referring to the new mixed models we have?
I'm asking about the new model.
Yeah,
I understand how the old model works. I was really trying to understand the model, not necessarily the actual specifics.
Exactly.
I understand that there might be a lot
So-
of details.
So similar to like a read and publish would do, we do look at like past history of publishing, and then we use like a set price for that to help determine what that would be. So if they wanted to have their S2O journals included with all the publishing included, we would look at that and come up with a negotiated price for them. So it would reset their subscription price,
Sure.
but publishing would be included. And then with our open access gold titles, we also can include those as well. So sometimes we're just launching this, but the feedback has been that many are going to start by including their S2O titles, and because the open access has a lot of publishing as well, so they have to kind of ramp up for that one. So
Sure. Yeah. Yes, we look at. Thank you for the clarification. Yes, we look at past publishing output and average article spent as you would with like an R&D.
I ask, what has been the uptake with institutions, and do you have any metrics regarding geography?
Oh, that's a great
How's this
question.
being,
That's a great question. I'm not. Nathan, did you hear that? Do we know the uptick geographically? Has there been any spikes or anything?
In terms of submission, if I'm
hi
right.
David,
Thank you. I'm sorry. This is my other call. This is our director, our lovely director of operations.
If we're talking about submission output, right, we're seeing across the board submission increases in all our S2O journals. And it happened coordinated when we made the announcements that we were doing this, and then when it became open. So we're seeing in the 20% range, depending
uptick
on,
of submissions, okay.
yeah.
What about uptick of, or what are the metrics on uptake by the institutions that are actually subscribing?
Yeah.
My primary question is obviously Asian, but there's a lot of pushback.
Trying to remember what my numbers look like.
You don't have to be
But-
specific,
but
but I don't know, is it more of a challenge in Asia? Is it
Well, so it's interesting.
strongly adapted in the US? That's the kind of.
Yeah, anecdotally, the particularly Chinese authors, they're more into Gold OA. They don't really care. So they tend to submit and get accepted to our OA journals. We are seeing increases in Chinese authorship though, because we do have a transfer cascade. And OA is just a side benefit to them. It's more like, oh, this is open access. So it doesn't register in the same way. So de novo submissions more towards the OA from China, particularly India, the same. US, our submissions are up on the S2O journals. Our going theory is that it's S2O, but there's it's so hard to disambiguate what's actually going on there, both in Europe and in the US. We think we will maintain this until proven otherwise that it's S2O that's driving this. But there are definitely some other things that we know are happening.
I'll just add that the reason why we're also offering the mixed models for 2026 is because in different regions throughout the globe, you look at Asia, you look at Europe, in Europe, for example, they're really keen on the read and publish for many years, so they're trying to adapt to this new model with S2O. So by offering something that's a blend of the mix so that they can include publishing. Another reason why we did that is because we had page charges currently, and in some cases like the funders would not cover page charges. So by including that into the subscription cost, then they can bypass that. It would be guaranteed open access, it would be covered. So that's why we're offering the mixed model. And also the DOAJ, David worked to help get our S2O titles all recognized in the DOAJ. So that was part of the goal as well.
Excellent,
Yeah.
appreciate that, thanks.
Thank you all so much. Again, I think we're at time. Thank you all so much. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.